My name is Kagiso Moloi. PS Susan Manyeni, the KEPSA CEO Carol Karaoke, Chairperson KEPSA, distinguished delegates and Kenyan entrepreneurs, good morning. I bring you warm greetings from our Group CEO, Dr. James Mwangi, and our MD, Moses Nyabanda, who could not be with here today because of other engagements prior. Firstly, let me confess something. I am from Botswana. Probably that's why she's able to butcher my name. My colleagues have spent most months teaching me Sheng. Today I'm very fluent and exactly I know 4 words. Niaje, Sawa, Chapa, and Noma. I've already used all the 4 words in the wrong order, but in the same sentence, mind you. But jokes aside, I must say, Kenyans and Botswana, at heart, we are the same people. We both come from cattle economies, where family wealth does not come from cash in the drawer, but rather from our head grazing in our kraals or behind our farms. So when I heard our MD Moses say this very conference last year, I believe, that a cow is just never a cow, but its hide becomes leather. Leather becomes a handbag sold in Milan for 40 times what the meat would fetch in a normal case. Something stood up for me. There's a story about value addition when I think about it. And this morning, I want to find Kenya's own version of that cow. We have seen value addition become our DNA. We have taken the local tea to France to create that value addition so that we stop drinking it just with milk and we just call it black tea, but with that quality that it deserves. That's what equity does. When I speak of value chains, we are also in the process of changing that particular leather that I spoke about to actually be of value add, and it can be used in Italy. That's the strategic partnerships we are creating now. Coming closer to home, which is now Kenya, my home. I said I'm from Botswana, by the way. If you go down to Kigomba on a weekday, and you will see it, one trader buys a bale of mitumba and sells it as a bale and just makes a modern margin, or one bottle at a time. Another source that same bale, alters the fit, changes the buttons, and add a label, sells that piece for far more. That is value addition already happening. What is key is that it remains unfunded, unnoticed in the markets we drive. And you can even go past that without even evaluating if it really matters. This is the Kenyan cow, a bale of cloth. The money is never in the raw inputs. It is what the Kenyan entrepreneur turns it into. Our job as financiers is to find the jump from selling the bale to selling the blazer. But that jump is really a single leap. It is a journey. From a bale on the pavement, to the stall, to the first machine, to the 2 employees, to an order from a buyer in Kampala that she has never met. Our job is to walk that whole journey with her from the first till number to her first export invoice. That is what we have to do. And a blazer is only worth more than a bale if it reaches a willing buyer when they pay more. Value addition without market is just a nicer product gathering dust. We are not doing this alone. The ministry under CS Oparanya and the PS Manyeni has launched the revised MSME Policy 2026, continues the Pesa Umfokoni agenda. When President Ruto launched that policy at KICC, he named a financing gap of roughly 3 trillion shillings and was clear that government alone will not close this. It closes when banks, development partners, and entrepreneurs pull in the same direction. Because when a trader in Kikomba does not grow in isolation, she grows inside an ecosystem which was mentioned earlier. The supplier, the buyer, the SACCO, the technology partner, KEPSA, the ministry, the development partners. Equity role is to sit at the center and connect those threads so that when the trader is ready, the financing, the market, the skills, the production arrive together. That is the thinking behind our Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan as equity. A private sector blueprint to move families from survival to dignity across the region, anchored on the sectors that build economies, agriculture, manufacturing, and logistics. I must say, the wider SMEs base and the social transformational and digital ecosystems are the pillars that we also drive. For years, our Kikomba trader could not get a loan. The size of her ambition, she had the orders, the skill, but no title deed. That is the gap we have closed. Today, equity offers unsecured working capital, LPO financing of up to 10 million shillings. I guess you didn't hear that, 10 million shillings. I was waiting for a round of applause for that. We assess this on the cash flow of your business actual activity on a daily basis. For traders importing raw materials, we now finance KRA duty of up to 10 million shillings. I think we'll have 10 million shillings. Round of applause once again. So that goods are not stuck at the port while the business loses its season. That is one of the gaps that we find. We are unable to close the necessary gap at the right time. Of the 100.9 billion shillings disbursed to MSMEs in the KBA Q1 2026 report, equity provided 37% of that. But behind that number are farmers, tailors, Juakali welders, tour operators, logistics firms, software startups, the real sectors that create this particular Kenyan jobs and exports that we are thriving for. None of that unsecured lending is possible without a different way of seeing risk. Innovation for us means reading business through its till, its supplier, payments, and its daily turnover, rather than a stack of documents that we usually used to ask for and we still currently do as the industry. Tools like that we have, like Pay Equity, Equity Online for Business, turn every digital transaction into your credit history, built in real time so that we can say yes without first demanding that title deed. And the same digital rails also open markets, trader visible on our platforms, and can be found by a buyer she will never have to met on foot. For many years in this room, a market is worth more than a loan. You can finance a workshop, but if nobody's buying, you only have a funded warehouse. So equity has stepped beyond the balance sheet into the business of opening doors. Through our trade missions, buyer-seller matchmaking is what we drive, and export forums that walk our customers into the realms that they could never enter alone. An agri-processor to a supermarket supplier, a manufacturer to a distributor in Kampala, a leather workshop to a fashion house brand. And there's already in our calendar, ladies and gentlemen. We are running a series of trade missions, which we are inviting you to across East Africa and beyond, with the next one being here in Kenya, from the 25th to the 28th of November. And if you are in this room, we believe this is already open for you. And under the Africa Continental Free Trade area, the continent is becoming one shop floor. A Kenyan blazer no longer has to stop at the border. Imagine those are the challenges we still have. That is why value addition finally pays, turns the hide into leather, the leather into handbags, and put it in front of a buyer in Kigali, Kinshasa, or even in Milan, because we are an economy that doesn't have to produce only for local, it has to produce for international markets at the right price. Ask any Kikomba trader and you'll realize that I love those traders at this point. What keeps them awake is not collateral, it is the fire. An entire season stock can be lost to a fire that started 3 stalls away and was never their fault. What a loss. Growth that is not protected is just survival, it's a nicer outfit. So resilience sits along the financing, not after it. Assets and business insurance priced for a market trader and value chain financing that pays suppliers within 7 days. And it means capability. Through Equity Foundation and Young Africa Works, we have put training into the hands of the hundreds of thousands of SME owners, financial education into the hands of millions of women and young people. P.S. You were very excited when you got to the stall of women. Under Fanikisha, we combine our financing with business training, market exposure, networking forums, access to health insurance, digital financial tools that make managing a business simpler and more efficient. And the impact has been remarkable, I must say. Over the last 9 years, more than 552.6 billion has been extended to women-led enterprises. A round of applause. I have to demand it if I'm doing a great job. Money without management is short-lived blessing, so we treat access to finance and access to capability as a promise, capital in one hand and capacity in the other. So my ask this morning is simple. Whether you are still selling the bale or ready to become the blazer, come and find us at Equity Stand before you leave this conference. Our team will be there to serve you and walk the journey with you. Because our ambition is to walk with you from the pavement to the stall, from the workshop to the region, from selling the bale to owning the brand. This is what our Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan is really all about. Resilience strong enough to carry Kenyan enterprises into the continental stage with our connections and our ability and in our transformational journey. Government has named 3 trillion shillings cap. CAPSA has convened the ecosystem, and new entrepreneurs are already in the market doing the work, unfunded and unafraid. Equity's promise is simple. Bring us your vision. We will bring the financing, the innovation, the markets, the protection, and the partners. So let's stop admiring the bale and go together and make the blazer. Asante sana.
Asante sana.